Welcome back to the Infinity Travel AZ Studios. Today I have Lisa with me from Lindblad Expeditions. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here.
I love that polar bear behind you. He's so cute.
He's pretty cool, isn't he? You wouldn't want to be that close to one in the wild. Let's just put it that way.
No, no, I wouldn't. But that and the little penguin behind you is really adorable. So Lindblad Expeditions, for those of you that don't know, do Antarctic and Arctic expeditions amongst many other things. And Lisa is going to give us a insight into Lindblad Expeditions. So take it away, Lisa.
Wonderful. So excited to be here. So yeah, what I need to do is kind of give you a little bit of a history lesson, which is really important when it comes to everything we do at Lindblad Expeditions, because we've been around for quite a while. We actually started in 1966. So if you can imagine, we were the very first small ship expedition company in the world. And that started with this gentleman, Lars Erik Lindblad. And Lars Erik took those very first guests to Antarctica back in 1966. Hard to believe it's really not that long ago that those first citizen scientists, those first guests got to stand on the continent. Now, he also, the following year in 1967, took the very first guests to the Galapagos Islands. And actually, he paid personally for the first park wardens to ensure that the national park got up and running, which is really exciting. Now, his son, Sven Lindblad, has been at the helm of the company for over 40 years now. And Sven has grown us from, one little red ship. We're fast approaching 15 vessels. And I'm going to show you one of the really wonderful new small ships that we have that's just launched, and her sister comes next year. But he's also worked on some amazing alliances. And one of those that people know us best for is our alliance with the National Geographic Society. And that just means that we are supporting their endeavors, their research through our Lex NG fund, our Lindblad National Geographic Fund, which our guests participate in. And it means we have all that wonderful knowledge and data behind us. We're in the fields. And on our Lindblad National Geographic ships, we also have our photography program, which I'll tell you a little bit more about as well. But what is really core to us is sustainability from the very, very beginning. Being a sustainably based company, it goes hand in hand when you're going to these remote places. And so for us, we're carbon neutral, single-use plastic free. But more importantly, we protect and preserve the habitats and the wildlife in the places we go to. We work with the local communities to ensure that we're supporting them. We have a sustainable food program, so we purchase as much of our food for our ships in the regions we're visiting. So not only do you get that lovely, wonderful local taste, but the money's going back into the local communities, which is really important, right? And we also hire local as well. Down in Baja, we've had one family with us, I think it's nearly 3 generations in Magdalena Bay when we're going out to see the gray whales. So it really is going to these places and very, very much doing a very careful, gentle footprint, and hopefully leaving them better than when we find them. And that's really important to everyone at Lindblad Expeditions. Our expeditionary teams, it's all the ologists, so marine biologists, ethnomusicologists, ornithologists. These are men and women who are as excited on their 30th or 50th trip with the Lindblad as expedition team as they were on the first. They're just so wonderful to spend time with, and all they want to do is have you understand the place you're visiting. They love to share. There are no silly questions, right? They just want you to ask and learn and go home passionate and help them protect these remarkable places that they're sharing with you. But they're in the field with you all day. They sit with you at dinner. They're available to support any questions you have. And then we have a dive team. And now in Antarctica and the Arctic, this is brilliant because you can see beneath the ships, right? So a lot of people think when you're on a ship, that's what you're seeing. But 50% of that experience is beneath you. It's in that marine biodiversity. How healthy are those seas and oceans around us when we're traveling? And so to have our team diving and bringing back this high quality video footage to share with our guests so that you can see, even in the coldest of climates, you have this vibrant color and these really remarkable images that come back. It's unbelievable. In Alaska last year, one of our divers was down and he was filming anemones that stand on, it's about a 4-foot stem and has this big white frilly anemone on the top. It looked like a field of daisies that he was swimming through. And you would never imagine that's right beneath the ship up in Alaska, right? So That's what an expedition does. It gives you that full 360-degree view of these really remarkable places that we're visiting. And on top of that, you have all this great equipment that we use that has come from Lindblad over the years. We've trialed and tested it and put it out there into the expedition market. But hydrophones, so you can hear whale song, video microscopes, so we can look at the plankton in the water. Is it healthy? What's happening around the ship? ROVs, or remote operated vehicles, that can go down 1,000 feet and beam back live footage. And then you have a videographer on board who's filming the entire trip. So at the end, there's this amazing, brilliant video that you can take home just of the experiences on that particular departure. Add to that all of our cool tools for exploration, like zodiacs. This is how we get ashore. If there's tchotchkes and, big docks, usually we're not going there. We try to avoid those. We want to go to the places less trodden. And so we're doing wet landings on our zodiacs. You have the kayaks, you have the paddle boards, and all of that is included in the expedition. It is not an additional cost. Photography, this one's a little up close. We don't get this close very often, but this is one of our National Geographic photographers in the field. And they are there to support your guests to really be able to get the best photography. And that's just not with expensive camera gear, but we have a lot of classes now that are focused on cell phone usage, right? Modern day cell phones have amazing photography capabilities. Right. And so we get the chance to have special classes for that as well, which is absolutely brilliant. A lot of families travel with us, multi-generational. And so we have a brilliant program we put together with National Geographic Education, and it's called our National Geographic Global Explorers Program. And that's on every Galapagos, every Baja, and every Alaska departure. It doesn't matter if there's one child on board, but that is to help them really realize their ability to explore and understand and to tell stories and to learn. It's not separate from their parents. They're given things to do and they go as a family to accomplish them. So it really is a lifelong memory that family is going to have when they're in the field with us, because family travel, that next generation are going to be responsible for caring for these places when we're all gone. So we want to make sure that they're engaged. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful blog post we had from one of our young guests that was a part of our Global Explorers down in Baja. But Mika just wrote some wonderful stories that I'd be happy to share with you, to share with folks that would like to learn more about our Global Explorers program. So as you said, we go a lot of places. So Antarctica, of course, the first company ever in Antarctica. We do the Antarctic Peninsula. We do Antarctica, South Georgia, and the Falklands. We do an epic trip that goes all the way from Ushuaia to the peninsula, the west coast of Antarctica, along to the Ross Sea, up through the subantarctic islands and into New Zealand. It's epic. Antarctica is brilliant. Of course, the Arctic. And this is always important for people to understand. The Arctic is many places. Often you'll have someone say, I want to go to the Arctic. And then there's a little bit of a pregnant pause, because it's like, well, where in the Arctic would you like to go? You've got the Russian Arctic, you've got the Canadian Arctic, you've got Svalbard, you've got Greenland, east and west coast. You've got all these remarkable places with different wildlife. There's up above Russia, and the Bering Strait, there's an island called Wrangel Island, which has the highest number of denning polar bears in the world, right? So these remarkable places all throughout the Arctic. The Faroe Islands, as you go across to Iceland, we do circumnavigations of Iceland. And our new ship, which I'm going to show you in a little while, is built to be able to go in earlier in the season and stay later. So along with the wildlife and the cultural components, you've also got the ability to stay a little later for hopefully those northern lights. But it's really important when you're talking about the Arctic, to understand what you want to get out of it. Is it a cultural experience? Is it more a wildlife experience? So Franz Josef Land might be where you want to go if it's pure wildlife, or if you want more of the Inuit experience. So those are the things we want to work with you on to make sure we get you where you want to see. We also have 3 fantastic new itineraries that come down from all the way from Nome along the Russian coast. So Petropavlos, the Zaponova River, down through that chain of islands into Japan, and then an itinerary in Japan, and then an itinerary from Japan through the Ryukyu Islands, so Okinawa, and down into Taiwan. And they're for next year, 2021. But brilliant new itineraries, and just adding on from the end of that Russian Arctic season. Just quickly, Galapagos, as I said, we were the first company there in 1967. It is truly a remarkable wildlife experience, right? This is up close, very personal wildlife. but different on every island. And every island is very different in its topography. The Galapagos Islands is located off the coast. I think it's about 600 nautical miles off the coast of Ecuador. And so it's not too far from here for a fantastic multi-generational expedition. Alaska, I love Alaska. Everyone goes to Alaska for the big things, right? I will tell you that some of the most remarkable things in Alaska are beneath your feet. Little carnivorous plants, tiny orchids. And it's when you're with an expedition team that they will get you down on your hands and knees, and you'll see the variety of experiences in a place like Alaska. And what's really cool is, see those two big ships down there? That's not us. See the little ship in the middle? That's us. So that's how we explore. It's all about those intimate little moments, getting away from other people and really out into the wilderness. As I said, we go to Baja, we do the Sea of Cortez. This is the gray whales of Magdalena Bay. Wonderful opportunities when the mothers will push their babies to the surface to get close. Every now and then, if you're extremely lucky, maybe the chance to reach out and interact with a baby gray whale, which is pretty cool. The South Pacific Islands, Tahiti, the Marquesas Islands, great snorkeling and diving out in this region. Egypt, we have a beautiful itinerary in Egypt on the Nile with a absolutely stunning Jordan extension. And so look, and this is just a touch of where we go, right? We're on the Mekong, we're on the Amazon, the Kai Samiria Reserve. And so those are just a few of the places we go. What's really important is the size of our ships, right? We hinted at the intimacy of it. Our biggest ship is only 148 guests, not cabins. And this is our new ship, the National Geographic Endurance, and she's only 126 guests. So 69 cabins, and 75% of those are balcony suites. So this is a beautiful platform for exploration, but she's got that really kind of funky, pointy nose. That's called an X-bow. So instead of riding a wave like this in bad weather, she has a much more stable, firm ride in adverse conditions because she cuts through the base of the wave. She's also an ice class 5 category ship. So ice classifications, the smaller the number, the stronger the vessel. So an ice class 5 is a very strong vessel, but just stunning. And this is, our lounge every night. This is where we do our recaps. We're famous for these. We talk about what we saw today, what we're going to see tomorrow. Beautiful dining, wonderful public spaces, yoga studios, fitness center, infinity pool on the back, infinity hot tub, 2 glass igloos with day beds so you can sit out at night or during the day. Just a remarkable ship. And we're going to take you to these beautiful places and then tell you to get off, because that's why you're there. You want to get out and explore, get on those Zodiacs. Open bridge policy. We can fit the entire community of guests up on the bridge with the captain and the team. One of the best places to spend an early morning coffee or an afternoon drink, and just gorgeous accommodations to sink into at the end of a day of exploration. So that's a real little snapshot of what we do around the world.
That's amazing. I would love to go on an expedition cruise anywhere. I just think it intrigues me with your National Geographic camera, or, the
photographers. Yeah.
And my husband is a amateur photographer, and he would just so enjoy working with somebody like that. It
makes a huge difference, right? So on our big blue water ships like the Orion and the Explorer and the Resolution and Endurance, you have a National Geographic photographer in residence. And on the other ships, you have a Lindblad certified National Geographic photographer. And I've seen them in the field working with our guests, and there is no silly question. They love to help people understand how to get that one shot that when they get back from their trip that they just cherish forever, because it's a moment in time. And I can tell you, the cell phone photography that we see our guests taking, absolutely brilliant. And then we also, on most of our ships now, have what's called a B&H photo locker. So there's great state-of-the-art equipment in those lockers, and guests at no charge can check those out each day and trial a new lens, or maybe a pair of Swarovski crystal binoculars, or, a new camera body. So you can kind of play with the new equipment in the field before you go and spend the money when you get home. But it's just another great resource to have.
Oh yeah, that's incredible. Well, back in the day of film, you could take hundreds of rolls of film and you might get one good shot, and has spent a fortune on developing them. Digital has totally knocked all that out.
Yeah.
That's an amazing piece. So a question, when you go
Yeah.
to the Sea of Cortez, how far up into the Sea of Cortez?
Well, we have several different itineraries, actually. So we have some that stick down closer to La Paz and down the bottom of the Sea of Cortez, but we go all the way up. We have a longer itinerary, which is going to take you up to the islands further up in the Sea of Cortez. So it just depends on the length of time you have to explore. I mean, that's where we get to see those big pods of dolphins and really amazing seabird colonies. And so I think there's the we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different itineraries that take in that Baja Peninsula. Yeah.
That's, they just built a port in Rocky Point. Do you think you'll ever go as far up? Because that would be a seaport for those of us in Arizona.
That's true. I don't know. I'll have to reach out to my expedition team and see what they know about that.
That would be so cool. On Rocky Point. So when you do Alaska, what are your ports of call in Alaska?
So we do Sitka to Juneau.
Okay.
And really the only place we go where there are other people is Petersburg, which is a gorgeous little town. But we try to avoid, the other people. We want to, we want to get out into the wild. We want to, you pull into these tiny little inlets where early in the morning you're surrounded by otters, popping up out of the water. And then you look out and the trees are covered in so many bald eagles. It looks like white Christmas ornaments.
Oh, wow.
It's unbelievable. We were going ashore in our Zodiac. So the Venture, National Geographic Venture, was in this very narrow little channel, really quiet in the morning. We were going ashore. We had some hiking. You could do a short walk or a longer hike. And as we're going ashore in the Zodiac, a whale came up right alongside us and just this, and then he was gone. It was just, those are the moments that make an expedition. We don't cruise, we explore, right? Every moment is about, how do you learn about this place? How do you get to understand it from a much deeper level than just seeing it? We want you to really be a part of it. And if we see whales, we're not on a schedule that we have to be in this port at this time. We can stay as long as we want to take in that experience. That's why you're there, right?
Right. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So what's included in your expedition fare?
Yeah, so all your daily expedition activities. So if you're kayaking or paddle boarding, you're in the Zodiac, you're with the National Geographic Photography or certified photographers, all of our lectures each evening. It depends on the itinerary. Often there's a pre-night, transfers from select flights, transfers to charter flights. On our bigger ships that do Antarctica and the Arctic, all gratuities and bar tab are also included. Okay. And in the Galapagos, all your bar tab and Wi-Fi is included. So it's a little different on where we are with the fleet, but all of your expeditionary activities are included. Now, the one thing I will say, we do diving in the South Pacific, which is absolutely stunning, and that is an additional cost.
Do you certify divers or?
No, they have to come with their PADI certification, and we provide them with all the requirements. We offer diving in the Galapagos, in Belize, and in the South Pacific. But in the South Pacific, we have dive masters on the National Geographic Orion, and you have stunning opportunities for diving. I mean, the snorkeling out there is spectacular.
I can imagine.
But the opportunity to dive in the South Pacific is wonderful.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to go.
Well, I've got to paint a little picture for you, mental picture. So last year, I think it was last year, yes, the National Geographic Orion was going between two islands, and they had the most spectacularly beautiful day, totally flat ocean, blue skies. So they pulled up just in the middle of the ocean, and everyone got off and went for a swim. I mean, in the middle of nowhere, just this perfect ocean. And there's just these wonderful pictures of people just, you could see for miles beneath you. Not necessarily for miles, but a long way. It was just the images that came back. It was just this moment of bliss where the captain went, you know what, this is just the perfect day. We're just going to stop. And that's what we're capable of doing, right? We're not on that set schedule. So
that would
Yeah.
be amazing. And I've been on the ocean enough to know that is a rare occurrence.
yeah.
That is a very rare occurrence. Even if you're on a lake, that's a rare occurrence.
It can be sometimes, yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I can't really think of any other questions to ask. If any of my guests come back to me with questions, I, of course, will be in touch with you.
Yeah, please.
Any little tidbits you want to leave anybody with?
I will tell you, I get one question I get a lot, which I'd love to share with people, Cindy, and it's specifically about Antarctica. People will say, well, can you fly across the Drake Passage? There's this, people get scared about the Drake Passage. I would really say to people, no, do the Drake Passage. The beauty of the Drake is that when you go down the Beagle Channel and turn right into the Drake Passage, you're following in the footsteps of Scott and Shackleton and all these amazing explorers that, crossed this very narrow stretch of water in these little wooden boats. And we're in this state-of-the-art ship that's built specifically for polar exploration. And what happens as you cross the Drake is the anticipation of arrival, that first chunk of ice, and then one that's bigger. And then maybe you start to see more bird life and some whales. And then you see those first ones and twos of penguins, and then a chunk of ice the size of a building. And then you see Antarctica rise out of the horizon. And it's this continuous expectation and excitement that builds and builds and builds until you arrive. And it just is such a part of the overall trip that it would be just very sad not to have that build up to what is such a remarkable continent. So that's the one thing I'd ask people to do. Don't let it scare you. It's the most amazing part of the trip.
When you paint that picture, it seems like it would be, because I do know that other competitors do offer, you can fly over or you can go through the Drake. I think I would prefer to go through the Drake just from what you just told me. I mean, how could you not want to build up to something so amazing?
I guess the only way to equate it, Cindy, would be, when you go to Africa, and you want to see the big five, right? So you're on your Jeep all day and you're looking and it's that excitement of, are we going to see a lion on a kill? Are we going to see elephants? And it's the buildup. And then you see them and you're like, oh my God, we're seeing them, right? Now imagine if you were taken to Africa and dumped in the middle of the big five and they were just there.
I can see that analogy. Yeah.
So
here you are, enjoy. We're going to leave.
Yeah, click, it's done. Good. That's great. I think we underestimate how powerful that anticipation is at adding to the entire experience. That would be my takeaway.
That is a great takeaway. And I have to agree with you. I've never done it, but someday I will. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Your presentation was amazing. And maybe we would like to invite you back to do another one after the first of the year.
Anytime. I'll be back whenever you want me.
Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and close up for now. So thank you very much, Lisa.
My pleasure. Thank you.